So today I'm going to be upgrading the RNSE navigation unit in my 2007 B7 Audi RS4. It came with the RNSE navigation from the factory, so I'm not upgrading from a Symphony 2. What the RNSE doesn't have, although you can get it with Bluetooth for phone calls, is it has no way to do Bluetooth audio streaming. With the updated AMI unit, you can get Bluetooth via a Bluetooth adapter on the iPod cable. So these are the parts you're going to need to do it. So I'm told you need this specific AMI unit. I believe this came out of a Audi R8 or Audi TT, similar generation of the B7. You need this adapter harness. This came from Kauftech, Kufatech, I guess, in Germany. It's an RNSE AMI adapter harness. So you need that. You will need a OBDeleven or VAGCOM, some kind of tool to program the radio. Once you install the AMI unit, you're going to be removing the CD changer. So you're going to have to program the radio to tell it you've got AMI instead of the CD changer, assuming your car came with the changer from the factory. Lastly, you're going to need a set of radio removal keys. These came from Amazon. I was told it's good to upgrade to the ones with the slightly fatter handles. Makes it a little bit easier to pull out. It's worth mentioning that this is supposedly only works on the Mark II RNSE unit. Now, the RS4 that I have in the US did not come with the Mark II unit. So I purchased this one used. I believe it came out of a TT RS. And you can tell usually it's a newer one. They have this sort of gloss black surround, and they typically come with the silver dials here. The TTRS that I obviously got it out of had a slightly different fascia. So what I ended up doing was pulling this whole fascia off my old radio and replacing it, replacing the one that came off the TT. I don't have a tutorial for that. There's some pictures online. It does basically require undoing a whole bunch of screws. This whole plate comes off. I went through the added trouble of actually swapping all the buttons. So I believe this button is a little bit different between the original RNSE and the Mark II. And obviously you get the silver buttons. So not only did I have to swap the actual faceplate, but I then pulled the faceplate apart and pulled all the buttons out. It's an added step. You don't have to do that whole piece of it. But in the event you don't get a RNSE Mark II out of, I think it came in some Seats from Europe, or if you don't actually have the A4 surround, you're going to have to swap that. And then this is the CD changer that we're going to be replacing. So to remove the CD changer, you need these keys. So you insert the flat side facing out until you hear it click. So the flat side facing out, there's a click, and the CD changer only needs 2 keys. The radio needs more, and then you just slide it out. And then you'll have to unplug it, and then to release the keys, you have to press in. To release it, you have to press in on this and pull the key out. To unplug this, you just squeeze top and bottom, and that'll unplug it from the CD changer. To remove the radio, it's the same thing, except there's 4 keys. And again, you place it with the flat side facing out. The last key is hidden behind the screen. And some people open the screen to stick it in there. So if you turn your radio on and lower the screen, you can see the slot right there. And there you go. And you should be able to close the screen again. And then once you've got your 4 keys in, it's just a case of slowly pulling and working it out of the dash. pulls out like that. So when you pull it out, you don't want to scratch anything, so put a soft cloth down. And this is also a good time to pull your keys out because you don't need them in the radio anymore. It's the same thing like the other one. You just have to push in on that little tab and then pull out the key. So this is the end of your harness that has to get fed through the glove box for your new AMI unit. There's a couple of plugs on here. You've got this sort of intermediary plug. So your main Audi harness connects in here, and then this will go into the back of your radio. And then you also have this connector. Now in my radio, as you can see back here, that's not currently in use. If your radio is in use, there's special instructions for you to sort of de-pin from this harness and pin into your new harness. Obviously I don't need to do that, so I don't have to worry about it. And then this is the main harness down here that you're going to be unplugging. It's easy to see here kind of how it works. So you've got this kind of bar that helps lock it into place. So, you know, when it's unlocked, it's like this, and then you sort of have to pull it up and lock it into place. And then to unclip it, you know, just have to sort of pinch that part there, and that allows you to pry it back. So I just fed some cable that I had in here, so I fed it into the hole and spun it around, and now I'm going to tape up this end to this end so I can pull it through, because that's where the AMI unit goes. All right, so here we are all taped up. Now let's just pull it back through this side. And I've got my hand in there that I can reach in and give it a good pull. Make sure my cable isn't catching on anything in here. And there we are. Pulled through the other side. Now I can remove the tape, and I'm ready to plug in the AMI unit. So, simple bit here. There's your plug. Take your nice, fresh, new harness. Plug it in, and then you can see this has the same two slots for those keys. So this just slots in like that. And now you've got your AMI unit in there. Next we have to switch over to this side. As you can see, there's a little bit of a gap down there, so we'll have some space to be able to push in our harness. But we have to unplug that and do all the wiring. Okay, so I got everything all plugged in. Obviously everything only plugs in sort of one way, so it shouldn't be too difficult to figure out. Right now I just got it temporarily plugged in here, or shoved in. So I'm going to test everything, and I'm going to do the VAGCOM programming prior to pushing everything back in, just to make sure it all works. So now we're going to turn the car on, not running, and use OBDeleven to recode the radio. So now we're going into OBDeleven. We're going to click on the modules, scroll down to navigation. Right, there it is. And this will take a second to load. And then we're going to click on coding. So within coding, you can see there's a value there, and each number corresponds to a bunch of different options. So let me take a screenshot. I'm going to save this for later just in case I need it. So there's various different fields that we're going to review. The two that we're going to be changing are actually the last two characters. So go down to the bottom here. So you can see that we are going to be adjusting the last two. Basically, we're going to be telling it that I no longer have the CD changer, and adding into it that I have the AMI unit. And basically you do this by just adding up the different options for that character and plug them in. So I'm going to have to subtract the CD changer and add in for AMI. So I have to go back to the top here. My specific code is going to be 0309645, and that's going to tell it that I have the CD changer, that we've gotten rid of the CD changer. We added the AMI, go save it, write it, and now that's approved. So now I just have to go back and reset the stereo, and that's going to commit all these changes that we just made. So to reboot, you just have to hold, and I apologize for the beeping, you just have to hold your AM, FM, and your setup button for 10 seconds, and now we can see that one of the options is AMI. So I also opted to buy a Bovee Bluetooth device, so I'm going to plug that in now and show you how that works. So this is the Bluetooth unit now plugged in here. You can see the little blue light on. I've paired it with my phone. I plugged it in to where the old cable was. So there's the old cable. You don't need that anymore. And now if I go to media, you can see here's my source list. It's paired to my phone. I can choose that phone, and now I've got Bluetooth audio playing, which is fantastic. Works great. This is certainly not the cheapest of routes. You can go with an aftermarket radio. This obviously required buying a new RNS-E unit, a new a used AMI unit, as well as this. I paid, I think, about $300 for this, $150 for the AMI unit, and then another $50 for the Bluetooth unit. So all in, $500 to replace all this, which, you know, you could get yourself a really nice aftermarket Apple CarPlay, you know, fully loaded nav. I like the idea that this was a sort of OEM plus. I get to keep all my navigation instructions in the center cluster. I get to keep, you know, all the radio information on the cluster. Obviously, I don't need additional modules to interface with the Bose system or the steering wheel controls. It all just sort of works, which is nice. And, you know, all my other radio functions still work. I can still access my satellite radio, which is great. So all in all, I am very pleased.